Welcome to the Geeking Poetic podcast channel.
On this channel, we have shows and segments that contain adult humor,
bad language, dirty jokes,
and other stuff that is strictly for mature audiences only.
So if you're too young or too sensitive for this kind of material, then please do not watch our channel or our videos.
This channel is not for you.
Thanks much.
And now, on with the show! About to fall over.
It's perfect with that new Egyptian backdrop thing you got over there, man. Like, if only you people could see us, we could be like dancing around.
All Egyptians.
Yeah, walking like an Egyptian and everything. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. It is the Geeking Squad podcast.
Woo-hoo.
Episode number 19.
One niner.
Yeah, Geek 19er. And what's going on? I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. Sitting down there at the entrance to the pyramid. It is none other than Pharaoh.
Vito.
Pharaoh
Vito
Vito.
Tep.
Vito, yeah, good old Vito Tep. And then we have the sassy Egyptian queen in the middle. She's not having any of it. There's too many asps around, and she's not pleased about it. It's a real pain in the asp. Hey, you like the puns, you know.
I do. What was my name in that? It was Anuksun Magoon?
Yeah.
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 It's a hard one to say.
Yeah,
Sure it is.
Anuksun Magoon. It is none other than
Megan.
It is the Magoon. And odds are you probably know, but for those of you that might be just joining us for the first time, the Geeking Squad podcast is based on the Geeking Squad group in Facebook. It's free and open for anybody to join, just as long as you don't behave like an imbecile. You know, no politics, no religion, no mean stuff. We just talk about geek stuff, all the geeky stuff. And we encourage people to share in their articles, rumors, theories, memes, all sorts of stuff. And you guys have been doing great.
Yeah. Killing it.
We've got
good stuff in there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. So what we're working on right now is trying to maybe do this every week. Now, every time we promise that we're going to do something,
The world fights against us.
yeah, we fail. So we're not going to promise that it's going to come out every week, but we are going to endeavor to put this out every week because we had been doing every other week or roughly thereabouts. But man, there's so much going on now that we've definitely got enough content to do it.
Yeah.
Megan's the one that puts the lists together, and she's like, good Lord.
I have like a whole page of topics that we haven't even gotten to yet.
Right.
So, yeah, keep them coming. This is amazing.
Yeah. So we picked the stuff that we really think would be the most fun to talk about, things that we can relate to or we're interested in, and we talk about it here on the Squadcast. So, you guys doing okay?
Doing good.
Yeah.
All right.
Still living, still breathing, still walking.
Thank goodness for that. You are still walking. You're not tripping or falling or breaking anything else lately?
Not yet.
Yeah. Yeah, find some wood and knock
Let
on
me
it.
knock on the wall here.
Yeah. All right, well, that's a good thing. Well, then, you know what? Let's not waste any more time.
It's not.
Without any further ado,
Yeah.
time to pull out that skillet. Get your hands on a nice, spatula.
Uh-huh.
Open up
Yeah.
the package and get it sizzling because it is time for...
What's shaking, Bacon?
Time to cook up some of that bacon.
Heck yeah.
That's the What's Shakin' Bacon segment. And this is where we just pick a bunch of random geeky stuff that we thought was interesting. One of the things I thought was interesting, I know this is dating me particularly because you two probably have never even seen the original or anything like that, I'm going to guess. Are you guys familiar with Buck Rogers?
No.
I know what it is.
Okay.
I might have seen one episode just in passing or something. But
Yeah, like from the late 70s, early 80s with Gil Gerard and Twiki, that little robot that goes, beady, beady, beady. What's up, Buck? And he talks like that. Yeah.
Does it really?
Yes. He's amazing. And man, when I was a kid, I loved Twiki. He was one of my favorite characters.
I believe that if that's how he talked.
Well, he was voiced by Chuck Jones, the guy who does a lot of the Warner Brothers characters and stuff. But yeah, he would just beady. What's up, Buck? I think Commander Darren wants to see you in room right away. Like talks like that. But the funny thing about it is he looks like some kind of weird, like outer space version of an Egyptian character. It's like a cross between that and a penis.
What?
He's very penile looking, So, I mean, I was a kid. What did I know? I didn't know. But, apparently all the adults at the time were kind of like snickering, like, look at that silver dick robot walking around there. But Buck Rogers, and that was obviously based on an old serial from like the 1930s, 1940s, something like that. And so it's not a new concept. It's going. It's just like they did that a lot in the early 80s when they had Flash Gordon, which was.
I just looked up this robot. Holy shit.
Let me see.
Did you? Megan, you've never seen Twiki before? There you go.
It's a small picture, but.
Yeah.
What's up with that fucking dickhead right now?
He kind of looks like that kid from Excalibur.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
No, he's way cooler than Mordred.
He's way cooler than that?
Yeah, because Mordred from Excalibur from that movie, I hate that fucking kid. I wanted to stand on his face.
He's pretty fucking annoying.
Yeah, that stupid laugh he had.
Okay, don't do that.
You seek the grail. Fuck you. Stupid little bastard kid. Twiki was way cooler than that, man.
Okay.
He may look like a dick, but he's not a dick. Trust me.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it's keeping in context to that. Well, now they're supposedly bringing Buck Rogers back for a third time, and none other than George Clooney has been attached to it with his production company.
Okay.
And it hasn't been officially announced, but they are assuming that George is probably going to play Buck. It's probably a vehicle for himself to play Buck Rogers, because I could see it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A good one?
Yeah, I could see it. He's a little old for Buck Rogers, but it depends on what they're going to do. I mean, if they're not going to necessarily make it like the same kind of origin story, because he was supposed to be like a younger pilot that gets caught in some space warp thing from the 20th century and winds up in the 25th century, is basically the premise of it and stuff. So he was like a military pilot guy, but he was a cool guy. Got laid a lot. But
maybe they'll do it like a flashback thing where he plays the old version and he flashes back to the younger version.
Could be.
Stories.
Could be. Or maybe this is even supposed to be like a sequel of sorts to the Gil Gerard series from the 80s and stuff. That would be really cool. But there's been no word or leak about whether something like Twiki is going to be in there. People are going to be expecting Twiki, man. You can't not have Twiki. That would be sort of like, that's like Star Wars, like you have to have R2-D2 in it, like when they did the sequels. It's like you can't, and even the prequels, it's like we got to have that character in there.
He's been in every movie, hasn't he?
R2-D2, I think, is the only character that's been in every Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
movie. I'm pretty close to it, at least. Yeah, I don't know. Was he in? Yeah, he was in Rogue One.
Yeah, I think he was in every single one of them.
Yeah. Oh, didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, Twiki is the R2-D2 of the Buck Rogers universe. So, it's supposed to be written by Brian K. Vaughan, who is one of the main writers for Lost. So that's kind of cool. Like, so they might, who knows?
Have a really good 3 seasons and then kind of go downhill. Is that?
Pretty much. Well, I think the original Buck Rogers only lasted like 2. Maybe it might have been 3 seasons, but I thought it was only 2. Yeah, it jumped the shark kind of early on, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see. Lost is one of those shows I've only watched like the first season of.
Yeah, I've only seen a few episodes.
You can probably make it up to season 3 and you'd be like, okay, this is good enough. And then after that, it's kind of like,
that's what I
kind
heard.
of sitting through this. I don't know.
That's how I feel about a lot of these shows, man. A lot of them. I forget what, there was another one that I was talking about recently that I was watching, and I was like, they should have just ended this back in like season 4 or 5 or whatever. Especially like a lot of those long running shows, I've noticed that it's like season 5 is the season.
Like All My Children.
All My Children. What? I think it went longer than 5 seasons.
It's like 25 seasons.
Yeah. Well, that's That was.
Try catching up on that show now on like DVD.
Oh,
Be like, what are you-
God. I'm sure there's people
That
that
would
do
be
it.
amazing.
Right?
I would do that.
Would you really?
Yes, fuck yes. That was one of my soaps, man. That and One Life to Live.
See, in my soaps, yes, I watched soap. My soaps was in the 80s. It was Days of Our Lives. Yeah, I watched that, and then in the early 90s, I watched Another World. To another world. Well, at that time, it was really cool. Like, a lot of the characters, like, I related to because there was, like, it was at the time, it was focusing around, like, some people, like, in the music business and stuff, and they were, like, long-haired, like, rocker dudes and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, I could kind of relate to this because I was that age. And then it got lame, and then I got into, and I'd always kind of been in and out of. I got into General Hospital.
Yeah, I was kind of in and out of that one too.
Yeah, well, General Hospital was the Luke and Laura one, actually. Rather.
I was going to say I thought that.
Yeah,
was
no, the
Hospital.
Days of Our Lives was Roman and Stefano and all that stuff. Yeah, that was the other. They were Days and General Hospital in the early '80s were like the ones that were like head to head, like. You know, you liked one or the other. It seemed like I was in grade school, but I would come home at lunchtime and watch that stuff because I was usually coming home like alone. At some point I was able to actually go home and not have to go to my grandmother's, and I was trusted to just like make my own lunch and hang out there for an hour or whatever. And so that's how I got hooked on these stupid soap operas.
Yeah, my dad hooked me on them.
Your dad,
My
not
dad
your mom.
actually. Nope,
That's
not
funny.
my mom. It was my dad.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But he also hooked me on Star Trek. So
Yeah. I'm not.
Which is its
complaining.
own kind of soap opera.
Oh, it totally is. I mean, come on. It's a soap opera in space, big time. There's all these romances and love triangles and really, I mean, come on, the Thomas Riker storyline.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
such a fucking soap opera storyline.
Wait, he wasn't in a coma for the past 30 years or whatever? It's like, no, he
Right.
was just stuck on a planet, and now he's back in your life.
And now there's, so now there's twins. Yeah. And it's like, and now my ex is back, but I'm with, yeah. And
well, isn't Riker married to Laura in real life?
to the actress that played Laura.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh, wow. That's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I loved him even more when I found that out. I was like, that's fucking cool.
Well, and then John Delancey, who plays Q, I knew him. I was like all excited when I found out he was playing Q because I knew him from fucking Days of Our Lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So see?
See?
So yeah, see? All you geeks that are like, you like soap operas. It's like, motherfucker.
Well, you know what they say. Everybody in Hollywood has worked on Star Trek, and I guess they've worked on some fucking General Hospital shit, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
So many people get their starts as those soap operas.
Yeah, it's soap operas, Star Trek, and Doctor Who for the BBC people.
Yeah.
It's like everybody, like anytime it's every time I watch an episode of The Crown and I see somebody and I'm like, they look familiar. The first thing I do is to go, okay, were they on Doctor Who? And then
Yep, there they are.
like 93% of the time it's like, there they are. They were in season 11. I'm like, fucking knew it. Yeah. All those BBC people went through Doctor Who. So, it's fine. But anyway, so moving on, speaking of British actors and actresses and stuff like that, I got really good news for me and you
Yeah.
that Enola Holmes
Yes.
is returning.
Yes.
They're talking
That's
about
exciting.
trying to make 5 sequels.
Really?
5 sequels. And it's all going to be Netflix.
Uh-huh.
And it's still going to have
Same actors?
yeah, Millie Bobby Brown and
Uh-huh.
and Henry Cavill and all that, so
That is really good news. That's
Yeah.
super exciting.
yeah, exactly. Because I know, Vito, you said you haven't seen that yet, right?
No.
Oh, dude.
You guys are really recommending
So
it.
good.
Enola Holmes. Yeah, it's
So
great.
amazing.
If you're in the mood for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I know you like some Sherlocky kind of things, Victorian
yeah.
era stuff. You like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and all
Fuck
that
yeah.
kind of. I think it's kind of got that vibe to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, not quite as supernaturally, but still a little bit. A little bit. I'm going a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So check it out one of these days when you get time. But
Yes.
yeah, I love it. Speaking of Sherlock, though.
Yeah.
you
I
had
got some
news.
Sherlock news.
Okay.
the whole Robert Downey Jr. kind of doesn't have a whole lot to do since he died in the MCU.
Well, he tried to do that Dr. Doolittle thing, and that did not.
That didn't go so well.
You not so much. you not go so well.
So he's kind of floundering or whatever. And they keep talking about bringing him back as Tony Stark, and he's going to make a comeback in this new
course
area they're going into. But he's actually turning that down. He's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to focus on that.
Right.
Let's put that to bed for now.
Which
I'm not
going
to say forever, but for now. And he really wants to focus on these Sherlock movies.
Yeah.
So they're making the third one.
Okay.
So it's confirmed he's in there going in making that. But in addition to that, he really wants to do 3 more movies. He wants to do another trilogy of it after this.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, there's enough source material.
yeah.
I mean, there's
Maybe a little bit.
yeah,
what, over 100 years or something of stories?
Oh yeah. I mean, but even just the original, because they've carried it on, but even just the original Arthur Conan Doyle stuff, sir.
And all the point-and-click adventure games that they made for Sherlock Holmes. I mean,
Right?
Dude,
This goes on and on.
I've never seen those. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I had one called The Secret of the Silver Earring. I know it sounds lame.
No, they were all named like that. The Curse of the Red Speckled Band.
Right,
There was always those things.
They're so fun. And I used to have the Sega CD Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detectives, where it's like it was just videos of them, and you had to go around London and actually literally write down clues in your notebook because you watch
That's
a video. That's
super nerdy, but it's
super
awesome.
fucking nerdy, but it's super fucking fun.
It kind of reminds me of Carmen Sandiego, that TV show.
Yes.
Fucking love that show.
Yeah. Love Carmen
You mean
Sandiego.
where in the world is
Carmen
Sandiego?
Then this massive spin-off show called Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego,
Oh,
where she would
Jesus.
go all over the world, but in time zones and like back in time and forward in time. It was so good, dude. The fucking 90s, man.
Well, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
It started in the 80s,
Yeah.
because where Carmen Sandiego started in the 80s. But yeah, it carried on. No, I agree. I mean, I'm legitimately kind of excited. My wheels are already turning. I'm like, there's like point and click and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, we might need to venture into that, man. Because I've never played those, and I would love, it would be fun to make videos of us sitting down, like playing it for the first time.
Some good Indiana Jones point and clicks too.
Ooh, okay, we're in. We're doing this.
We might need to do this.
It's happening.
Yeah, see, Twitch, we're coming for you, man. we are gonna be the new all you point and click nerds there on Twitch. It's like, we're coming for you, pal. That's awesome. No, have you seen the Downey Sherlock movies? Oh my God.
I know.
I know we said this to you before, but I forgot that you haven't seen any of those. Dude, even before Enola Holmes, watch the fucking Downey ones. Those are some of the best movies of the last 25 years. Easily.
Wow.
Easily. Super good, man. Yeah. And if you like those games and stuff, I bet you would dig this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. That's exciting, Meg. That's good news.
It is very.
You were telling me something last week about this Victorian superhero thing. Speaking of our League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and all that.
Yeah, so that kind of piqued my interest there. So it's a show called The Nevers, which was created by Joss Whedon. But since then, Joss, I guess, has stepped down from that role. He wants to focus more on his life and his other projects he's got going on.
Well, he's got a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's fucking workaholic.
Yeah.
But they are still coming out with it, I think, in April, it looks like. And they do have a teaser online that looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks awesome.
Ooh. Okay, I didn't know a teaser was out.
But it's only on HBO, which I don't have.
I was going to say, we need to find somebody who has HBO and get us access.
That's why we have certain friends that we won't name who have vast libraries on Plex that we can access. If I don't know if he's going to listen to this, but we will definitely leave him a message and be like, hey, when that Nevers show comes out, man. I'm sure he will anyway. He usually does, but yeah. And I feel bad. I feel like we're not big on thieving and stuff like that. But I avoid that when I can. But man, there's so many of these pay streaming services now.
It's getting ridiculous.
I can't. I just can't. I mean, it used to be like Netflix, Hulu, and one other one or something like that. Now there's literally dozens of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to happen? It's people are getting tired of paying $300 a month on cable. They're like, well, I'm just going to sign up for the streaming service. And then all of a sudden, you're paying $300 a month in streaming services to get everything you want to watch.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it already is like that. I mean, I've got Fubo, now to watch cable stuff on, so I can still have CBS, NBC, ABC, et cetera. But I mean, it costs money. You know, I bet I'll tell you what though, even with that and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and all those kind of things, I think I'm still saving money compared to what, you know, we were paying for the damn cable and stuff, because that cable's
stupid expensive.
so
They
expensive.
dug themselves a grave.
Yeah, and I can understand if you're paying that much money not to see commercials, but you're still watching commercials. It's like, well, the point of buying into that is to not watch commercials.
Yeah.
Same with these other streaming services. That's what gets me, man. I'm like, dude, I'm paying for this. I don't want to watch advertising, and I still got to sit through this shit.
But see, and that's why it works out. That's why I was glad we found that TV for you, man, because that Pluto TV and all those free channels.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
dude, it's
Don't-
dangerous, but
don't-
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's all your
And it
kind of
keeps getting more
stuff.
dangerous.
Yeah, it's all your kind of stuff, because it's like there's one channel that just shows sort of, you know, like well, it's not all B-rate, but a lot of it is like the kind of some of the B-rate, you know. You might not see Child's Play, but you'll see Child's Play 2, you know. You might not see, you know, you know what I mean? Like you'll
It's
see
not B-rate, by the way.
Well, you know, that's what, you know what I mean?
It's called a sequel, Larry.
It's, yeah, sorry, sequel, man. But you know what I mean? Like you might not see RoboCop all the time, but you'll see RoboCop 3 or something like
it's not
that.
a B-rate movie. Actually, well, kind of a B-rate movie.
So the point is, Pluto has all the Vito stuff. Yeah, you need to stay away from that, you know, because
You're going to do nothing now.
I know. It's,
I see all the time. I'll be like at home and I'll turn it on and I'll see something's on and I'll be like, I'll be like, oh, I should message Vito and be like, dude, you know what's on? And I'm like,
No.
no.
Don't open that can of worms.
Exactly. I'm gonna spare him. I'm not gonna bring it up. That sounds really cool though, man. It's called The Nevers. Is
the
that it?
Nevers, yes.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we love us some like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I loved my Umbrella Academy, which isn't Victorian, but it's got a similar feel, you know, in a lot of ways to some of that kind of stuff and everything. So I welcome that shit. You were mentioning a certain favorite character of yours earlier, Meg.
Yeah.
We were talking about the point and click games and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was doing some interview and he let it slip a little bit, probably on purpose, but that it is confirmed. He said about in 2 months he's going to start filming the new Indiana Jones movie.
Who is?
Mr. Harrison Ford.
Ah.
So
You better hurry up with that shit, because he ain't getting any younger, man.
no, he's not. But he was just saying he feels obliged and happy to continue on with these characters because people enjoy them so much. So he wants to give the people what they want. And he doesn't call them, what do you call them? He calls them customers. We're customers. We're not fans, because it's just weird to him to call people fans.
Oh, boy.
He's like, I'm doing this for my customers.
Harry.
So he's doing it for the money then.
Well,
It's
Right.
one way to put it.
he's always just
The
had
customer's always right.
he's always just had such a thing about this whole thing, you know, like talk about personality wise, somebody who is not cut out to be one of the all-time
Biggest
biggest action
whatever.
fantasy actors, because he's just so grumpy about that. He's like, he just hates fan culture and stuff so much. And it's like, well, sorry, dude, you're literally two of the all-time biggest fantasy action, whatever, you know, geek characters of all time. Fucking Han Solo and Indiana Jones. It's like,
So you shouldn't have stood in to run lines at one time. You fucked yourself. Sorry.
Exactly. See, he should have
Too
just
bad, so sad. Moving on.
should have let Kurt Russell have the role, and
Yep.
then that would have all been on him instead. Yeah, and then that's a funny thing is, so Kurt Russell went on to do things like, you know, The Thing and like some other more like kind of some serious sort of stuff. Big Trouble in Little China.
It's a great movie, man.
The best part is when that dude's head blows up. I saw it at the theater when I was a kid, when I
nice.
was in my teens. Yeah, we went, and when it got to, we were digging the movie, but when it got to that point, when that dude fucking exploded like that, I was literally, I think, on my knees on the floor in the River Oaks Theater laughing so hard. It's so stupid. But anyway, yeah, no, that's great news, man. I mean, I'm excited about it. I just worry because I know him and how we feel. I'm like, he's going to kill this character off, isn't he? He's going to fucking Han Solo it.
Man, he better not. If his kid kills him off again, I'm going to be pissed.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be something if it's like, yeah, it's like his son and his son ends up resulting in Indiana Jones's death and be like, dude, knock it off. Like every time.
Does it say if Shia LaBeouf is going to be in there at all?
I
Or
doubt it.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think the Boofer's gonna be in it.
I don't. I think he dug that grave too.
Yeah, he's kind of like, yeah, he's got some other things going on in his world anymore. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But one last thing, speaking of getting back to the 80s movies and stuff like that, I didn't know anything about this, actually. So they're doing a sequel, another sequel.
Another sequel.
Another sequel, too.
So this, yeah, Gremlins: Secrets of the Mogwai, which is actually a prequel,
Oh.
which it looks like takes place in the 1920s, and it's
Okay.
an animated show, which is weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, they're liking those animated shows
Yeah,
lately.
I don't get it.
I mean, I'll watch it. I'll give it a
Give
I'll
it a
give it
try.
a shot. I'd be kind of interested because I mean the whole Mogwai thing and the Gremlins. I mean, it was always so nebulous. Like you never really got any kind of origin of where the fuck these things came from. You knew it was from the East, and
And I'm kind of okay with that.
yeah, you know what? That's a good point, man. I do feel like I know people get uppity about sequels and stuff, as we've seen lately, especially with Star Wars and things like that. But I'm more open to sequels and seeing interpretations of where things go than I am than the prequels, because sometimes I'm like, I don't need everything spelled out to me, because sometimes I think it fucks it up. Star Wars.
Cube Zero.
Oh yeah, I never saw Cube Zero. You were telling me about it.
If you want to be like a completist and watch them all, that's fine. But it just ruins the mythology that you thought of in the first one, you know. But
Right, yeah, because that's what I thought. Well, because I saw Cube 2 first, obviously. And the thing that was kind of cool about that was that you were still just like, what is this? Like, it was still left with a lot of questions, and in a good way, not necessarily in a WandaVision kind of way. It's not that bad, I guess, but poor WandaVision, but I enjoyed it. But anyway, I don't know if I necessarily need the whole cube thing, explained to me and stuff. It's the same thing. I don't know. I'm open to checking out the whole Gremlins thing, but being a prequel and being animated, it's like, oh, okay. That's a little less
Two
interesting.
strikes.
Yeah, it's a little less interesting to me. I'd rather it was like, something that was make it more like a, I don't know, even if it was more some sort of like a martial artsy kind of thing, or a Kurosawa kind of film thing, like make it some really cool, interesting take on the origins of the Mogwai and all that stuff, maybe not as goofy as like Gremlins 2. I know you like Gremlins
I
too.
do like Gremlins too, yeah.
So silly. But I don't know. We'll see. Might be good.
Yeah, time will tell.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
All right, everybody. It is about that time to have a little chat, a little talk with y'all. It's time to talk to the squad. And it is squad talk time. You ready, Meg? Are you ready for that squad talk time?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about squad.
Okay.
All right, hurry up.
Okay.
Here we go. All right.
All
No, in this section, we like to talk about, we pick sort of like a theme of, sometimes a lot of times there's multiple posts about something, and it kind of creates a little bit of a theme that we like to focus on. And it's usually, not always, our geeky real life science stuff, or so-called real life. Who knows what's real anymore? But one of the things I thought was really interesting was they posted an article about how these scientists have been experimenting with lucid dreaming. Now, have either of you guys ever had a lucid dream? Do you even know what that means, really? What a lucid dream is?
Not really.
Okay, so a lucid dream means it's where you're in a state of dreaming where you're full on in a dream. You could be doing it, you could be flying a fucking spaceship, or you could be in the middle of the desert or whatever. But you're like aware that it's a dream. It's really obviously lucid, meaning like it's very vivid. It feels very realistic and stuff to you. But part of that is also because there's whatever part of the dream state or sleep state you're in, your brain is sort of more consciously aware of it. And so that sort of makes it feel more realistic, I guess. At least that's the way I've always understood it. I have pretty frequently had lucid dreams. I know they said like not everybody does this, Have you've never had anything like that, Meg?
I mean, well, I had one last night. I woke up freaked out. But it felt really, really real to me. Like it was actually happening to me. But I don't think I was aware it was a dream. It felt real, and I was terrified.
Okay, well, I mean, that's pretty close. I mean, that could possibly qualify as that.
Okay.
I've had stuff like that where you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that just happened. I can't believe it. And then you find out, oh no, wait, that was just a dream. That didn't really happen. But it felt like you went through that, or that event happened and you were like, oh fuck.
Like your heart's still racing from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the thing they've been experimenting with this for years. And what they had in the previous times had people be able to communicate, so to speak, while they're dreaming. Actually communicate with the real world, and like sometimes it could actually be with speech, but a lot of times it's more like they actually kind of train them to be able to like communicate using like their eyes.
Okay.
So kind of like
Christopher Pike wise.
Yeah. Very, very Star Trek Menagerie, right? Yeah, it's sort of like that, beep once for yes, and, kind of thing. Kind of like that, yes. What they'd never been able to really successfully pull off before was communicating with people while they're in the dream state, like being able to possibly suggest things to them and talk to them and get answers back and all this kind of stuff. It reminds me a little bit, I know we talked about it briefly when we did our episode about the dream movies and stuff. It reminds me of things like Dreamscape, like that movie from the 80s with Dennis Quaid, where it's like they have experimented with people to be able to enter other people's dreams and be able to sort of control and communicate with them while they're in this lucid dream state kind of thing. Well, now they're actually experimenting with it in real life and getting some results. Like,
interesting.
I mean, the results aren't like major. I think out of like 100%, it's only like maybe 20% that they had successful, like full on successful, like, oh yeah, they were able to like respond to answer questions while they were in this like dream state and everything. And I think maybe talk about like what's going on and things. But so they still got a long way to go, but it's really interesting because there's a lot of theories, and we've talked about this a little bit before, like when we did our talking about movies, but in real life, there's a lot of theories out there about whether or not when you're in some of these dream states, whether or not you're actually experiencing some kind of actual event, you know what I mean? Like this isn't just made up in your head. It's almost like it really is to some level. Like what is, now I'm going to get all metaphysical on you, like what is reality and what is actual existence? It's like if somebody was in a coma and say they were in some sort of like lucid dream like state where they felt like they were feeling it, it was affecting them emotionally. They were really living it out and it was going on for a long time. Would you sit there and can you just easily dismiss that as saying, oh, it's just a dream. It's not real. And it's like, but if you experienced it and you felt it and you went through emotions and you laughed and you cried and you hurt, physically felt pain and stuff, and all these things, then is that not real? It may not be real in our 3D physical world, but it's still an experience. Megan, you look like your head's about to explode like Big Trouble in Little China right now.
No, I'm like even more petrified in my dream last night now.
Oh, no.
Like, oh my gosh, that was real. No, that was so scary.
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean like all of a sudden it's going to come out now when you're awake and everything. But just meaning like, how do you define what is real? I mean, because again, if you experienced it, I mean, that's when we start getting into all the things with like, you know, Oculus, you know, and all that kind of stuff, you know, where you're doing all these 3D
Virtual reality.
virtual
augmented
reality. Yes, that's the term I'm looking for. If you're getting into like virtual reality thing and you look at movies like that Ready Player One and all that stuff, where it's like those people are just living their lives that way. I mean, to a certain extent, they're almost never coming out of it. Their lives are more fulfilled and feel more meaningful and enriched living in the virtual reality world, whereas then their regular world, they just feel, you know, they're just kind of living in squalor and it sucks, you know.
It's kind of what
Total Recall.
Yeah, or this movie called Surrogates with Bruce Willis. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah, these people
You
live
like
in,
a Bruce Willis
I
movie?
do. Might be the only one.
Wow.
So it's in the future. Like you can like put yourself in this machine or chamber, and your consciousness gets uploaded to like this android that goes and lives your life in the real world while you're at home.
Wow.
And you can be like anybody you want. You can look any way you want. You don't have to be you. You can just control.
Right.
Oh, like a robot, basically. It's pretty fucking
Even like Avatar.
Yeah.
Same thing
Yeah.
in that.
right.
Right. And I mean, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like when we start thinking about things like having these lucid dreams and the idea that we could maybe at some point get to the point where we can actually dictate them, like be able to control the
Yeah,
dreams.
that's what I need in my dream.
Yeah.
Fuck that poltergeist.
This was a bad
It
dream,
was
huh?
so bad.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like touch on such a fucking nerve.
It was a
with-
bad timing, I guess.
Yeah, that's funny.
Or some weird quantum entanglement where you can control like a person in a parallel universe that's you, but living like a completely different life, and you can kind of communicate with that person and be like,
There are people
do that, you know?
Yeah, there's people that theorize about that kind of stuff that say when we go to dreams and everything, when we go to certain dream states that we're actually living out, it's like astral projection and manner of speaking. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of possibilities for what this could mean, but I just thought it was really interesting because I've always been really fascinated by dreams, and because I have so many very lucid dreams and stuff like that, like I have dreams that I had back when I was like 3 years old, 5 years old, 6, 7 years old that I still remember. I still remember the dream, like pretty fucking detailed. You know, and then don't even get me into the whole thing with the statue cat. Again, we've talked about that before, but where I would be dreaming about walking through my house and all this stuff and that statue cat, and there was like this whole other thing, and me kneeling in front of the damn thing, and its fucking eyes opening up, and it had human eyes. It had human eyes. All right. And then I'd startle awake. You know how you do that. And I was actually kneeling in front of the statue cat in my dining room.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. So that's what I'm saying. I've just always been, since I was, as long as I can remember, I've just always been fascinated with the concept behind dreams and why and how they work. And is there more to it? There's got to be something more to it. Like these just can't be weird misfires in the brain. You know, there's got to be something more to it. I don't know. It could be, it could be. And I love the idea of astral projection and all that kind of stuff and time travel. I'd love to, you look at a movie like Somewhere in Time where you're combining dreaming with actual time travel. It's and in that storyline, the idea is that he did actually
Time travel.
He actually somehow physically was there back in time because there was all this proof in the future that he had really been there. It wasn't just a dream, but he got there through some sort of dream state thing.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of time travel, that leads to something that you were looking up.
Yeah, so this senior honors undergraduate from Australia says he has proved that there's a paradox-free time travel. So basically that means you can go back in time and change something and you won't create a paradox. Like if you go back and shoot your grandfather, your father would never be born, thus you're never born. Thus, how did you go back in time? This title is a little bit misleading because it doesn't give you like a math equation, which I was hoping for. Which
I'll tell you exactly how I did it.
And here's how you do it.
which I wouldn't have understood anyway because I'm not that smart. But he basically says that he quote unquote proves that if you do go back in time and you try to change something, that time will just fix itself. So you wouldn't be able to create a paradox. So he uses an example about COVID-19. So if you were to go back and try to stop COVID-19 from happening, from like killing patient zero,
Right.
somehow time would fix itself where you became patient zero because you brought back COVID-19 to that time. So it would never erase it because you brought it back, or somebody else would end up becoming patient zero through some other weird circumstance. So he basically says this is a free pass to go back in time and do whatever you want, and you'll change nothing because it'll just reverse itself and make everything become how it should be in the end.
Yeah, isn't that in some movie that it doesn't matter what you do, time's gonna
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Because I always
10, 20, 63. That's what I'm thinking, isn't it?
11, 22,
11
63.
every time I get it wrong.
Yeah,
Every time.
10, 19, 74.
Right? Yep.
That was
Never
when
fails.
Kiss's second album, Hotter Than Hell, was released. October 17th, 1974.
You know what? Screw you.
I actually know that's the right
is
date.
the right
That's
date,
so
yeah, of course
sad.
it is.
I am the font of useless knowledge about Kiss. Yes, I was just going to say, well, it's, the big line in that book that he keeps saying is time is obdurate, like if you that's why things keep happening. Every time he keeps trying to make these major changes and then there's like these obstacles and these things happening, it's because time will correct itself no matter what you do.
So this kid probably read that book and he's like, oh, fuck yes, I got my thesis and now I can graduate. He just ripped off fucking Stephen King.
Well, I think it was an already existing theory that Stephen King actually
Ripped off first.
ripped off or borrowed from. But you never know. Stephen King does seem to have a lot of answers for things, when you really think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. I do kind of tend to believe I guess all of this stuff with time travel, unfortunately, is not really plausible for a bunch of reasons, but I feel like that's a fairly understandable thing, if you want to believe in that, like destiny and stuff.
It makes your brain hurt less, I guess, than like if you try to go back in time, all of a sudden you split off another timeline, and all of a sudden you're ending up with an infinite number of timelines because anything that can happen will happen, and there's a universe that has that outcome in it. It's like an infinite
Right. Well, but that's also part of 11/22/63, and they kind of end up explaining in there that that's part of why nature and the universe is so obdurate, because the more you do create those paradoxes and stuff, the more you're like weakening the fabric of time and space and everything. So,
and the more the fucking guy drinks wine.
Yeah, you become the yellow card. Yeah, the yellow card man, exactly. You're not supposed to be here, Chimwa. You got to listen to the audiobook for 11/22/63 to understand that reference, folks. Trust me, do it. It's one of the greatest audiobooks ever made.
It definitely is.
Enough said. But anyway, but yeah, so I don't know what I saw. What was the whole thing you're talking about, Meg? You've got something about you. You're like that kid in the Sixth Sense. So you're seeing dead people now.
Yeah. So the title was something to the effect of like they could put dead people, reinvent them or whatever into artificial intelligence. It's kind of misleading.
That almost sounds like the Bruce Willis movie he was talking about, kind of.
Yeah. So what it actually is that if someone has a fairly large carbon footprint, okay, so they're all over social media, we have voice data we could pull from, images, videos,
Gotcha.
anything like that, they could pull all that information from somebody and then render it into these. They're working on 2D and 3D models of these people.
Gotcha.
That are no longer living and put into this, which I don't know if I'm missing something, but can't you do that? Do they have to be dead? Can't we pull that from anybody?
I guess, you could do it from anybody.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Maybe the point is, it's like once you're dead, you're fair game, pal.
right?
You've sequestered all your rights. Or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Maybe that's it. So.
Yeah, it could be. that I see being extremely plausible. I could totally see them doing something like that.
absolutely.
I think that's the kind of thing we're going to see in the next, probably in our lifetimes here.
Mhm.
I think they've done that with there's an AI program that can analyze death metal bands, and then it writes its own death metal
Yes.
song based off of what it's listened to.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I've listened to it. I have that saved on my computer. I have that link. I've listened to it just to see if there was anything good worth stealing off of there. They inputted all of this music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever algorithms and stuff that they use to do it, and then so it just automatically the AI just creates new music based off of it, using pieces of it and it then putting it together in a certain way and using certain lyrics and certain. It's really trippy.
Yeah, that's exactly what this sounds like. If there's a big enough carbon footprint, they can put all these pieces together, and then it can communicate with friends, family, whoever.
Wow.
But not only people
As-
they knew, but it communicates with new people too.
Right. So it just makes you more eternal.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's coming. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's a good idea, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, well, I thought it was kind of cool at first because it's like, well, if somebody dies, you can, do this, so they're always still with you.
Right.
Seems damaging to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because what if it fucks up and it doesn't create it like you remember it, and then you're kind of second guessing your memories or something.
Yeah, that's true.
There is this is kind of off topic. There was a weird video game that they made for this Xbox, I think, when it first came out, where you can create a child, and people were using it to put in their old kids that had died and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
You
remember that.
I thought that was dude, that's a line that you probably shouldn't cross, man. That's kind of fucked up. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a reason, I guess, we have to deal with death and losing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just a part of our reality.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you hear about those. You hear about those stories about the weird lady that's got the doll of the child in her window and all that stuff, and it turns out that it's an exact remake of their 6-year-old daughter that died 60 years ago, and they just put it up in the fucking window and shit. Yeah, Vito's shuddering. Yeah, what are you doing? It's why would you do that? Why would you think that's a good idea? That's
I mean, it's a horrible thing, man. But
absolutely.
to do that, I don't know, man. That's kind of
that's helping matters.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Making some Annabelle shit,
right.
Leave
Yeah.
your mom in a rocker chair.
Yeah.
Leave her.
Oh
boy.
my god.
Yeah. Man.
Did you guys hear? I saw this story. It says they went to this guy's house and this woman's house, I guess, and they found her dead son in his bedroom on his bed and stuff like that. She's like, "Oh, I just thought he moved out." She's a hoarder.
Oh.
So, and she's like, "Oh, I just thought he moved out. He'd been dead for years."
Oh
What?
my God.
I cannot smell that or anything.
Well,
He's a
if you're in a
hoarder.
hoarder house, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I was like, holy. I
Yeah.
was like, people. Okay.
Well,
And she didn't collect Social Security or any kind of funding from him. So they're like, well, that must
legit.
have
Yeah.
been
What can we
legit.
do?
Jeez.
She's it's you should check that room more often, lady.
Yeah.
It's what kind of shape's he in? Maybe we can make a fucking robot out of him for you.
Right.
We'll just program him to clean this fucking place up.
What do you suggest?
All right. It's about that time. We're winding down. We're getting on down the road. We're getting down the road here towards the end, and this is the part where we like to make some suggestions, some gentle suggestions. Getting a little bit suggestive.
Just do it.
Nothing gentle about Megan. She's like, just fucking do what I tell you to do.
Right.
But we suggest things that we've been into, stuff that's kind of floating our boats, so to speak. And we think it's worth recommending for you to check out. Vito, what do you have to recommend to the people?
So I've got a newish Trivium album. Trivium is a metal band from Florida,
Yeah.
which I used to like them a lot when they had an album called The Fall of Ascendancy that I was really into back in the mid 2000s or something.
Yeah.
And they kind of dropped off. Well, they didn't drop off, but I dropped off with them.
Right.
We've played shows with them before,
Yeah.
and I always thought they were great live, man.
No, excellent. Really tight band.
Oh, yeah.
Live. Super tight. Yeah.
Super pro. So I actually started this Twitch channel just to see what it was about. And Matt Heafy, the lead singer and guitar player, is on Twitch, and he's
Right.
huge on Twitch, dude. He's like the biggest Twitch guy there is.
Well, right now you got to do something
Yeah.
because Trivium's one of those bands that lived on the road. They
Yeah.
just toured. So they ain't doing that now. So Twitch it is.
Yeah, and he'll play some songs and playthroughs, and he did one called The Catastrophist, and I was like, wow, this song is really, really good. And this album has a bunch of just heavy riffs, just slamming, really melodic stuff too. And they have 7 strings tuned down a half step, so that's always good.
Oh, there you go. It always comes
Speaking
down.
of Vito's language right there.
It always comes down to the tunings. Yep.
Yeah, so definitely check that out, man. The new album, it came out in 2020, so I guess it's still new-ish.
Yeah.
But it's called What the Dead Men Say by Trivium. Go check it out.
Would do the dead men say, "Don't turn me into some AI robot. Just let me die. Leave me alone." All right, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Megan, what do you suggest? Oh boy.
So I have been binge watching an old show that I grew up on,
Yeah.
and I forgot how freaking fucking funny it is.
It's freaking fucking.
It's freaking fucking funny.
Man, if it's freaking fucking, then whew,
It's a triple F right there.
there you go.
But I've been rewatching, of all things, Family Matters.
Yes. So good,
It
that
is
show.
so good. Steve Urkel, oh my gosh, that kid, oh my gosh, he's such an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate it when I was a kid, but oh my gosh, he's so funny. Like with his body, what he does and everything, it's throwing himself around.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, I was dying laughing.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of things don't really translate to today's world that great,
I was gonna
as
ask.
with everything else.
Yeah.
So we just kind of take it as it is. It was the sign of the times, but oh my God, I'm dying laughing.
Yeah, watch it
So-
now before they remove it.
Before
like
they remove
everything
it,
else
yeah.
they're removing. You know?
Exactly. So it's amazing. It's just worth a rewatch.
Okay, so it still holds up well for
Still
you.
holds up. I still love the 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? I say that all the time.
Oh, Megan.
Hey, it's true. It works. It helps calm me down.
Whatever works. All right, so that's there. You can see it on Netflix. Is that where it's at, or what's it on?
I think I've been watching it on Hulu.
Hulu. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yep, do it.
Hulu
What you got?
on Hulu? Okay, I got. You guys like picked like these like metal and comedy things. Mine is more serious. It's more of a heartfelt kind of serious thing. But I think we've mentioned before when we've talked about stuff. But there was a musician named David Z. He was a bass player. He played in Trans-Siberian Orchestra and the Adrenaline Mob, I think.
Okay, yeah.
But he and his brother Paulie had a band called ZO2, which was like a power trio. I recently just recommended people check out Joey Casada, the drummer from ZO2's YouTube channel, because he's hilarious. He's the one that does like, top 5 stupid things we did during our childhood and stuff like that. Like Joey's channel is great. He's a great guy. Unfortunately, David, I don't want to bring the show down, but David passed a couple of years ago in a really unfortunate accident while on tour and everything. So yeah, he was unfortunately taken from us much too soon. I met David. I knew him very briefly, casually. He's a super sweet, great guy and a fucking phenomenal musician. Really phenomenal. But he was a very like giving, caring guy. Even when I met him, he was very concerned about our mutual friend's daughter, who was sick in the hospital at the time, and we didn't know. It wasn't looking real good there for a while. She's fine now, thank God. She's doing great actually. But at the time, it was touch and go, and I had explained to David that that's why my friends didn't come to the show, and he was so concerned about it and gave me a bunch of free stuff to give them and stuff. Was like, and tell them we're thinking of them. Like, super sweet guy. So as always happens in this business, it's always the best people that unfortunately get robbed. We get robbed of and everything. Well, Paulie and Joey and a bunch of other people in the industry have gone together to start this nonprofit organization called the David Z Foundation. And what it is they put up videos of them doing stuff, doing collabs, music collabs. They put in all different kinds of things, tutorials, You know, they just did one like a couple of days ago, and it was great. I mean, man, they had everybody from members of Dream Theater and Anthrax and Trans-Siberian and, you know, Dio and all, you know, all these different rock guys getting together and like interviewing, talking, playing together, doing songs. They've done some live shows where they've done big like all-star show kind of things, and they're really great. Lots of talent, man. Like really cool. And all of the money that they raise when they do these things goes towards music schooling for children and stuff. So it goes towards like instruments, sheet music, you know, whatever, just anything that they need. They have certain schools that they've teamed up with, and all the money that the David Z Foundation makes goes to those schools to help kids.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a really cool thing. Like I said, they just had a collab, an all-star fundraiser they did back like 2 days ago. So you can look it up online. You can still find it if you want to go watch it, and you can still donate money to them if you want, you know, after the fact and everything. There's going to be many more of these things coming up in the future, but I highly suggest if people want to see something that's really cool, because it's just cool to check out. I mean, you see all these collabs you'd never expect to see, you know, and it's good people. It's a good cause. Kids need music education, man. They need this so bad. There are so many forces at work that are trying to take that away from your kids and just rob them of that kind of stuff. And, you know, especially me and Vito in particular can relate to this, where it's like, I mean, you're in school now trying to learn music stuff that, you know, trying to get caught up on stuff. And if only we had more of that education when we were kids.
Yeah, because the arts and music, they always get cut in school.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
So-
Always. And I mean, and it's in so many instances, this arts and music is the stuff that saves lives, literally saves lives.
And it's always, a lot of times it's looked down upon by parents and other people. Like, well, don't go into music or arts. It's a waste of your money and waste of your time. It's
right.
like,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can't,
know, man.
You can't make a living at it and all this other bullshit. And that's not true. That's not true at all. It's not true at all. And even living aside, I mean, it's the kind of thing that helps people get through, especially kids. This is very important. So if you can, please go check it out. You know, if you want to tell them you heard it from us, that's great. But it's not important. Just the important thing is just go check it out, donate, whether it's $1 or $5 or anything. Donate to them, because it's a really, really good cause.
And that's the David Z Foundation.
David Z, the letter Z. Foundation, and all these things that we're talking about, the Trivium album, even Your Family Matters, where to find that and stuff. I will include links to all of this in the description on the video, or if you're listening to this on Stitcher or Podbean or Spotify, all that, just look in the information. All the links, direct links, will be in the description for you to click on and go to.
Nice.
And last but not least, we like to recommend a podcast or channel of some sort. And one that Megan and I found that we got really excited about was a channel that is called In Camera. And it's on YouTube. And it's like one word, In Camera. It's not two separate words. No space. And what it is they describe it as the home of DIY practical effects tutorials for filmmakers just like us.
It's pretty amazing.
It is really amazing.
I would have never thought to do that.
Yeah, we've barely delved into what they have, but I mean, they've got so many things where they'll take like famous scenes, like iconic scenes, like the black void scenes from Stranger Things, when you go into that void, you know, for the upside down and all that stuff. They show you how, if you're just like a DIY filmmaker, how do you make that effect? You know, and this is minimal. There is some, you know, Premiere, kind of like pro effects and stuff. There's some CG in there, but for the most part, it's showing you how to do this with lights and smoke and paper and sheets and
fire and
all sorts of like cool things like that. That we saw, they show you how to make like a Psycho, like Bates house looking kind of scenario, how to do a Burning Man kind of thing, how to do like a Burning Man on fire kind of thing and do it in a safer way. And
Oh man.
oh no.
No, don't get any ideas, Megan.
Oh no. After what we talked about earlier, you guys would be in a Burning Man.
Oh geez, that's not a great idea.
It's gonna be amazing.
They show you all sorts of things, horror effects, just different kinds of optical illusions and things, how they create them. They do all this stuff on this channel. I mean, and it's free. It's on YouTube, so you don't have to pay for anything. It's just right there for you to get, all the tips. So again, we'll put that. I'll put that link for where to find them on YouTube, and check it out. Yeah, because it's still a relatively new channel. They've got like 25,000 subscribers at least. They're building up pretty quick, but they could use the support because they're still kind of fresh and new, and it's a bunch of filmmaker people kind of like us. Well, they're way better than us.
They're way better.
But we're
We are
kindred.
going to learn so much from them.
Yeah, we're kindred spirits. We'll put it that way. So anyway, all right, we got to get the hell out of here. It's been a long day and a long night, and I'm pressing the wrong buttons and stuff again, and Megan's wheezing at my mistakes over there. So, all right. Anyway, we'll see you next time for episode 20, everybody. Take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.